all the presiding officers and the clerks for everything they do as well.
The Honourable Stephen Joyce, 5 minutes.
Mr Speaker, could I also add my thanks to all the people that work around this place for the work that they've done in the year that's just gone. And as we head into Christmas, Mr Speaker, I think we should ponder, in fact help the Labour Party ponder, the big political imponderable of the year, and that is, if 2012 has been such a bad year for the government as they say it has, then why is it at the end of this year that this government is as popular as it was at the start of the year? And I think you should ponder that over the barbecue at David Cunliffe's over summer. And actually I can tell the Labour Party why they have this problem, because they have no political credibility. They have no credibility with the public and they have no economic credibility. They think the public are gullible, and the reality is the public are not gullible. The Labour Party thinks they can argue that black is white one day and white is black the next and nobody notices, but they can't. They are completely politically inconsistent. They sold used cars, they'd give used car salesmen a bad name. They are in complete denial of the worst economic crisis the world has seen for 80 years. That's their starting point, is to deny that, and as long as they keep doing it, they're still going to keep falling over with the public. They act as if the government isn't dealing with an earthquake. They say our growth record is poor, yet it's faster than most countries in the OECD. They say, in fact, it's a lot faster than when they were tossed out. They say New Zealand has a balance of payments problem, but our balance of payments deficit is half the size it was when they were in charge. They say New Zealand needs more savings, but we've actually got a positive savings rate for the first time in 20 years. They say the cost of living is too tough, and yet real wages have grown over the last 4 years more than they did of the entire 9 years of the Labour Party. So they say they say unemployment's a disaster, but 5,000 less people are on the unemployment benefit now than a year ago. They say manufacturing is in a crisis, and yet volumes in manufacturing are up in the last year. They say exports are down, but they're up. These people are in fantasy land, Mr Speaker, and the big news for them is that the public isn't buying it. They go on about jobs, and then they don't want the government to do anything about giving businesses the opportunity to grow jobs. They say we need more houses, and then yesterday in this House they opposed the RMA reforms that would speed up consents for houses. But then it gets worse, Mr Speaker. Then it gets worse. Labor have no credibility, and then you add the Greens. And it's even worse. There is even less credibility and a lot less economic credibility. These people, the Greens, argue for jobs and growth and then oppose every single thing that would lead to real jobs and growth. Agriculture? No. Oil and gas? No. There was little Gareth on the front page of the Dominion this morning. Aquaculture? No. New coal mines? No. Convention centres? No.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallett.
Well, Mr Speaker, did you hear what the member said?
Member must use the person's correct name, so when referring to the Green member, the full name. Honourable Stephen Joyce.
So there was Gareth Hughes on the Dominion this morning, once again turning down oil and gas. So no new coal mines, no convention centres, just even building a commercial building they're opposed to. More Chinese tourists, this one courtesy of Winston, no. Johnny foreigner investing in New Zealand, no, that's not allowed. International education, not allowed. Green jobs, apparently, yes. So what's a green job? It's a giant make-work scheme. Here's a clue for Labor and the Greens. It's not an industry if there's nobody wanting to invest in it except the taxpayers being forced to. It's not an industry. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a giant make-work scheme. We know where those end up. They end up on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea with governments that have no money. But that's all right. They can print the money, Mr Speaker. They just set up the printer and they can print some more. Labor deny it, but actually they're the junior partner in this coalition with the Greens. And if it's such a good idea to print money, why don't the Greens just go and print off some carbon tax credits and solve climate change that way? Because it makes just as much sense, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, New Zealanders understand that this government is delivering in a tough world. We are growing New Zealand. We are clawing our way out of the GFC, in fact, better than most OECD countries. They also know that not only does the other side not acknowledge the reality that the world is in today, so they're never going to trust them why they don't acknowledge that reality, they're also saying that these people have no solutions. Their solutions are exactly the same as the old solutions, which is promise all sorts of free stuff with borrowed money, and actually the world has changed since then. You can't promise free houses and pretend you don't have to borrow money. It's the same old bankrupt visions. Frankly, it's even more controlled by the political wing of the public sector unions. It's all about the politics of patronage. The public are not buying it. Ponder that at David Cunliffe's barbecue this summer, that the public are not buying it, and if you keep going the way you're going, they won't buy it for another year. Merry Christmas, Mr Speaker.
Order. The Honourable David Parker, 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.